I'm Rachel. I am in Los Angeles. I am multi-passionate. I'm an actor, singer, spoken word poet. I'm also a life guide and Reiki master practitioner and specialize in supporting actors and creatives to level up their lives and careers by learning to deeply love themselves, trust themselves, and follow their intuition. And my archetypes are connector, close second is alchemist, and then not a very close third at all is ruler.
What I would love to hear from each and every one of you too is thinking about your combination. All of the other archetypes have connections within each other, and this is what's going to be you guys are going to love this in the next round of SMA, because we're really going to look at where each archetype are cousins with each other. But for your particular combination, how is that showing up for you? Yeah, I just want to hear any thoughts about how things are either amplified or you think some things get cancelled out because of your combination, where your challenges could be, kind of even harder sometimes, or if you think there's another flavor of an archetype that kind of brings in to kind of help you.
For me, it's connector, alchemist, and then ruler kind of a little bit below. Oh yeah, definitely see. I definitely see all of these, and I've been fascinated by how they work together and sort of like pull on each other. So definitely with that connector alchemist, with like both of them being so high, the tendency to just like not care about money. I don't need to think about that. I mean, absolutely. This is something that I've gotten much better at. Definitely work in progress, but gotten much better at because of Money Bootcamp and SMA, like all of these things, like going, okay, yes, let's look at this and let's create some systems around it. But that natural tendency, like all through my 20s, for sure, it was very much like money was not a thought in my mind, really, like managing it at all. And just that belief that it will always be there is great. And I think I really see, I especially kind of in my late 20s, early 30s, I saw that double-edged sword thing play out, because then it's like when some kind of like emergency would happen, and it was like I didn't have as much access to my magic. Almost, it felt like it's like, whoa, all of a sudden everything's a bit of a mess, if that makes sense. And so really going, oh, okay, maybe let me like pay a little bit more attention, or a lot more attention. But something that also was interesting when I started, not in Money Bootcamp, before Money Bootcamp, when I kind of started looking at money through like some other programs and things, I all of a sudden realized that I wasn't looking at my money, like I wasn't caring about it. And I became aware of that. And then I almost became like ashamed of that. And then it was almost like I totally leaned away from my alchemist, the part of me that could just create money, because it was like, no, that's not real, that's juvenile, that's too magical, like, no, you need to understand where it's coming from. And then I actually think I started leaning more into like the ruler part of me that's like, I need to be empowered, I need to work for this, like, which there is a very natural part of me that can kind of like just do the thing, but it's not actually the highest part of me. I think it's good that it's in the mix and it helps. But what I noticed was a pendulum swing to then where it's like, no, I just need to work on this. I just need to like build my empire. And then I wasn't connecting with people because it's like, no, I need to focus. I need to work. And I started to see like things aren't flowing. And so when I really dove into this work, I started to understand it's like, no, because yes, it's good to pay attention to the money. It's good to build your empire, whatever, but my superpower is in the connection. So I have to have that. And when I connect, what I've realized is connecting to other people and really building really genuine relationships for the sake of building genuine relationships is what creates, it's like the channel to the alchemist. It's the channel to money just coming in, opportunities just coming in that then turn into money. So that's kind of like how I see that trifecta playing out for me. And it's been so powerful to just have this understanding, so I can go, when things aren't as in flow, what is it that I need to lean into? Am I cutting off my connector? Am I cutting off my alchemist? Or do I actually need to bring in a little bit more of that ruler for a phase, you know? So yeah, this has been just mind blowing.
I've been asking all the archetype groups too, because this is fascinating. When you go to join a course or a program or working with somebody, what are things that are an easy yes for you, and what are things that turn you off?
I feel really similarly, Mia. For me, it's like it's all energy. It's just all energy. So I am a person who will like read the whole sales page, but I'm not reading the sales page for like what exact the logistics of what is in the course. I'm reading the sales page for how do I feel? Like, how do I feel with the way this person is communicating? How can I feel their energy in these words? And same thing, sometimes I'll check social media, and I do also tend to be a little bit of a slow burn because I'm just feeling out the energy. And also, if I can see like the things that I'm like, yes, like even more quickly, it's like if I can see how this will make me become more of me, like more of who I'm meant to be. And it's not necessarily about like, this is the specific strategy that it's like, no, this is about like you becoming more of yourself in some way. I am like, I am all in. If I like your energy and I see that, I'm like, I'm all in forever. Like whatever, you know? So that's for me. It's just, it's energy, energy, energy.
Okay, so here's a question that no one mentioned: giving back. So is it important to you to see that somebody gives back with their business or with their launch? So what if it was then a surprise on the thank you page to say, hey, and we're going to donate, you know, this, I mean, because we always donate for launches, but we don't do it as part of our launch. We don't talk about it really. And it was just a curious hypothesis for me to go, oh, would that be something that you would, especially if your business was geared towards connectors, nurturers, is that something that's just a must do? But it sounds like it's kind of not.
Yeah, I think it does open up loops. And like the idea of if it was a surprise on the sales page, I'm like, oh God, like that feels like tricky waters for me personally, because then I'd be like, wait, what organization? Like if it said, and I'm like, do I like that organization? I wish I had actually had that information before, because for me, since everything is about connection and energy, like then I didn't get the chance to scan that as part of the package. And I would almost feel like if I loved the organization, then it would feel great. But if I didn't, it might not. So I feel like it could backfire. And I think having it on the page, I think for me, it depends. I think if it's actually super aligned, if it is truly aligned with the person and their values and the way they move through the world as a human being, then I like it, because I've seen that where I'm like, I trust this person. I know this person literally like every day they're talking about this on their social media. They're trying to raise awareness around this. They're living in alignment with this. They're researching, like that is 100% in alignment with who they are. So it's like part of the package of them. But when it's just like sort of a thing that's tacked on, I almost feel like this like drop off of the energy that's like, that's a strategy, like that's a tactic, and I'm not here for it. And it also can create like actually a bit of mistrust for me. And or it can create, like you said, an open loop of like, well, then what is this organization? Wait, what organization are you? If it's just like, we donate to charity, I'm like, what charity? Because if I don't know who you are and your values specifically socially already, then I don't know. So for me, I'm kind of like, unless it's 100, like super aligned with the person as a whole, I don't need that.
So there's so many more questions. Where do I want to go next? Okay, so I would love to hear about your ideal clients, okay? Because I'm a big believer in business. There's no right or wrong business models. There's no right or wrong, clients. There's no right or wrong marketing that you want to do. It's just finding the right fit for you. And sometimes when we start, we don't know, and we're just, either trying to be ourselves and seeing who we attract, or we try and be everything to everyone, which could maybe be a connector, nurturer kind of thing. But like, have you got awareness now of who are your right fit clients?
So in my business, my ideal clients, so we're talking actors, creatives. I work with tons of actors, but also some other types of creatives as well. But the thing that I feel in them is that like they have big visions. It's like visionaries, innovators. It's the kind of people who it's not just like, I want to be an actor and just, kind of act. Sometimes it's like, no, like they see themselves winning the Oscars and the Emmys or the Grammys or whatever, or if they're not an actor or in the entertainment industry specifically, they see themselves like having a global impact in the world. So it's like these big ideas, big visionaries, and they see that this can happen in new ways. So that idea of innovation, innovators, and they're already like really, really plugged into personal development, spiritual development, kind of like hacking themselves, finding the way to be the best version of themselves in the world, like that kind of thing. They're already very much on that journey. They've read like Brené Brown and like all of these books, or they are like sometimes, they can be these people who are like really like looking at the vision, looking at like, I want to be there. And I am actually employing all of the strategies to get myself there. But I'm feeling like there's something underneath. Like there's something deeper that I don't have access to. I feel like there's kind of like this more something, and I don't quite know how to access it, but I'm willing to if someone can show me. So it's either that, or it's like, I'm already like so into that, but like, I don't know how to see it any deeper than I've already seen. Can someone help me see deeper? So it's people who are looking to connect to a deeper level of truth, a deeper understanding of like the highest version of themselves, and plug into the highest possibility of themselves, plug into the part of themselves that deeply believes, the part of themselves that exists that already believes and knows that they can get there. So those are my people.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? Because it's then, do you go, is it the alchemist, or is it the people who have like the alchemist is like their second or third, and they just really need you to magnetize it for them?
Yeah. And I kind of get the sense that it's that second one, that it's like, that it's like they feel that exists somewhere in them, but they don't necessarily have full access yet to the part of them that creates from that space of like more like magic or feminine, or that like the energy space. So I do sometimes work with people who are like healers or things like that, but it tends to be more people who are kind of looking at things from a more strategic or tangible lens in terms of their actions. Even if they're really like personally, like I'm developing personally, I'm spiritually attuned, they're not necessarily yet allowing that to be the thing that's the driving force. So it's like turning up the volume on the alchemy.
Trust.
Yeah,
Yes, that makes total sense, because then it's almost like then you could target to any archetype, but they have to have that slightly suppressed thing. And even in that marketing piece, it's like, that you have it, you just don't trust it yet. You know it's there, but you need help to tap into it. And then you could do that for the flavor of anything, right? It's like the celebrity one. It's like, that you are meant to be in the spotlight, but there's something there you haven't trusted the alchemy of that. You haven't trusted. You could say that to the rulers. You're working hard and you're doing the strategy, but there's that missing piece for you of the trust. It's like you could really span a lot of the other archetypes, but that is that anchor of the magic that you help them. Right.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yes, that feels so right. Yeah.
How fascinating. And do you have any celebrity energy in yours? Is like at a close fourth, or no? But you just
I can't remember where it is. Like I think it's not like at the very bottom. And I can like feel that little bit of a tendency in me, but it feels that energy in me feels very much like it's overridden by the other. But what's interesting, my partner, like my boyfriend, is like celebrity. Like I think that's his number one, and it is wild.
Funny. But yeah, I love that, just that, because I think if for some people, if it's easy for them, they don't need someone to bring that out of them. Right. You know, like if celebrity is top and really easy for someone, they never need to work with a celebrity. And I think that's the same almost with that alchemy. If it's right there for them, they wouldn't need you. But it's the people, it's like, it's just a little bit under the surface. Mm-hmm. And they know that if they magnetize with you, then they'll be super powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, this is so cool. I just like talking about it like from this lens.
I would love to hear from everyone. What is your last archetype? You know, and you might not know, but you might just intuitively know, because I find we actually get a lot of information from that too. And that can either show up where you need to hire in people for your team. So for me, connector and nurturer are not my highest. So I need to make sure I have customer service people on my team to bring that nurturing energy, right? That's a massive gap.
For me, I actually like pulled up my little chart, and my lowest two are nurturer and romantic, which is interesting. But also my last five are all within 2 points of each other. So it's like my top ones are like really strong. Like my top two are really strong. So like accumulator is also one of the bottom ones. And I think that's the one that I have done the most to kind of like, okay, let me bring this in a little bit more with my like non-paying attention to money in terms of the connector alchemist. And so, you know, just like putting systems in place, like that is a thing that I have done. Systems that also feel easy, and recognizing that those systems actually help to create channels for more magic to come in, because I'm always going to have this optimism and this magical thinking thing. But if I can use it to my advantage, it's actually incredibly powerful. So just like actually seeing it as like, this is actually helping to create tributaries for more to come in and for the money to know where it's going, which like makes it even more attracted to me, right? So like it like enhances the magnetism. So really leaning into that, I think, has been helpful to me. Also, I think allowing myself, because of how, and I don't know what it is for other people, but I know that it was interesting to me to go, whoa, like my top two are very clear. So really allowing myself to fully lean into the strengths of those and not shy away from it at all. I think that recognizing that what I'm doing in my business, like my superpowers, really, it's this idea of the connector. And what I really started to realize through the materials here is like, yes, it's connecting in terms of relationships, but it's also connecting as in like connecting the dots, helping other people to connect to parts of themselves that they don't have access to. Also connecting in terms of connecting the dots of like big abstract concepts. So recognizing that's why like I'm able to help a person actually understand how to deeply love yourself, how to trust yourself, because these are things we believe like, yes, of course I want to do that. Of course I want a deeper relationship with my intuition, but it's like, how do I do that? And I've recognized that it's like, well, I have this ability to take those big abstract concepts and break them down so clearly that you can understand it and like viscerally understand it in your body and then be living from that place. That's connector energy. And recognizing that it's like I create massive transformation for people. That's that alchemist energy. And the massive transformation happens through my ability to help people connect the dots, connect to the places in themselves. So seeing like, okay, that's already kind of what I was doing, but the recognition of it allows me to lean into it and be like, that is beyond enough. It's more than enough. And being like, let me just like push the gas like fully on those superpowers, on that zone of genius, and let it be. So that's been really, really powerful. And I think it's also giving me a lot of courage. Releasing the idea of the finisher, because with alchemists, it's like you're an ideas person. You don't really like necessarily finish everything or like follow through on things. And I think it's been really powerful for me to also just be like, that's okay. You know, like to be like, that's okay, because there's actually a bigger thing that I'm here to offer, that I am able to offer the world. And going, oh, maybe this is why I feel so called lately to do like transformational speaking, because it's like I can activate these things in a person so quickly, like with great force, and it'll stay. And knowing like I can just do that and then walk away, and you can go like complete the actions and the implementation of that in your own life, because my power is so strong in this other space. So I think like really looking at this as like, these are my superpowers and these are the things I can kind of let go of. And then these are the things that actually let me put a little bit of attention here. And knowing that like for the accumulator, right? Like bringing that accumulator in, I'm not going to sit around all day trying to be an accumulator energy. It's just bringing in like little things to just bring it up a couple ticks, and seeing even that makes a world of difference in my approach to my business, my approach to my life, my approach to my acting career, like all of it. So yeah, it's been just super powerful. So glad you said that. Yes, I've definitely seen that, because I think that one of the ways that I wasn't allowing my alchemist to work for me before was, so magical thinking is amazing. It's just a problem when that's all that there is. And so what I noticed is that sometimes it would be like, oh, the money will come and I don't have to do anything. And honestly, the reason I believe that is because sometimes that would happen. Like sometimes that was legit true. If I would just like focus on what made me happy and what felt fun and joyful, then money would just come. But I think that creating those like channels and those tributaries, what it does is give me more empowerment in the process, so that it's not like I'm only trusting the universe. It's like, how am I co-creating with the universe? How am I collaborating with the universe? So what I have noticed is that now I'm always like, okay, well, what am I selling now? Right? Like this is something I've been leaning into more and more and more over the last couple of years, especially over the last year, like always having something that I'm selling now. Actually, more recently, like even more actively. In the last year, it was like, there is always something someone can buy. Now, in the last several months, it's been like, no, I'm actively putting a bit of energy behind something, kind of at all times, because what I've recognized is that when I do that with intention and focus, I don't have to overwork, but it's just putting a bit of intention and a bit of energy behind it. Sometimes money comes in through that channel, right? You know, sometimes money comes in through that channel, but a lot of times either money doesn't actually totally come in through that channel, but then it comes in through like some other place in a massive way, or it's both. It's almost like having that energy, that specific intention creates the opening for a full belief in my system and the universe to be like, we know what we're doing. We know where we're going. Again, it increases the magnetic energy. So that magical thinking, it's almost like it has backing behind it, like it has meat behind it. It's got some like truth behind it. So then I'm like, okay, here's what I'm putting out. And it's so funny because sometimes I'll put, last week, literally, I put energy into just like a small, like a little offer, like a mini course, and people signed up for the mini course. But then these other like massive things came in, some of them money, some of them value, like thousands of dollars worth of value for free, or like, oh, a new business idea that I actually just then sold right away without trying at all. But I really believe that it's because I had clear intention of, this is a very specific way that money can come to me. And then money's like, oh, okay, yes. And so that I've seen that, like, and I'm like actively in the process of leaning into that more and more and more.
Anyone else see that in their kids, like what their archetypes? Yeah, Rachel, go for it.
Not my kids. I don't have kids, but my partner, just like conversations around this. So he's an alchemist, or not an alchemist, I'm not connector alchemist. He's a celebrity. And if I remember correctly, he's like very celebrity, kind of in the way that I'm very connector alchemist. And it's really, I think, just having the understanding of why we relate to money and buying things or save or whatever in the way that we do has been really helpful for us, just in terms of communication around these things, in terms of just understanding each other. And so it's like fascinating to see. It was fascinating when we took it. I was like, of course you're a celebrity. This makes everything make sense to me. It's also interesting because looking at it, I think like my dad is like no longer in my life, but looking back on my childhood, I'm like, he was definitely a celebrity. So it's funny because my partner being a celebrity is actually really lovely in my life, because he brings in like all these wonderful, amazing, like the best things, like tangible material things. And I think because my dad was a celebrity, we always had that. Like those things would just show up. Again, alchemist energy, like the best things would just show up without me putting any energy. So I won't put energy behind getting those tangible things, but I actually quite like having them. So it's fun having my partner because he actually creates that for us. And I think it's interesting, when we understood the archetypes, it's also my like alchemist thing was very attractive to him when we first met. And then it also has helped in my business, him kind of understanding, because as a connector, there's that thing where kind of like everybody becomes your friend, right? So he would in the beginning, like kind of look at me like, why are you charging our friends to work with you? Like, what are you doing? And I know that the reason I do that is because there's actually a tendency to not want to charge my friends. So I really had to have a moment of being like, but the thing is, everyone becomes my friend. I have tons of clients that are friends and friends that are clients, like it's like this very reciprocal relationship, and it just does this. And so it came to like, if I don't charge my friends, I won't have a business because I'll just be doing this work for free for everyone. And when I explained that to him through the lens of the archetypes, he got it. And he wasn't like uncomfortable with that anymore. So it's like released some tension in our relationship, because these are like his friends too, like people who are close to him. If they want to work with me, then I charge them. Sometimes I offer them like a little deal or whatever, but it's still, we're still gonna have business happening. So I think it's just created more ease for us.
So are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.